Hi, it's Kevin Sharp. I'm joined today by Evan Doc Shaner, the artist on the new champion of Shazam from DC Comics, and a as yet unannounced secret project coming soon. We're going to talk about a page from Darwyn Cooke's The New Frontier. So, Doc, welcome to the channel.
Hi there. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. So, for starters, tell us where you were in your comics reading life or your professional art life when The New Frontier kind of came into your awareness.
Well, the book came out in 2004, and I remember leading up to it, they had these promo posters for the comic book shops, and they're pretty big poster, and it was the one with Green Lantern's hand in the middle, raised up with the lantern ring, pretty focused, right in the center of the poster, with the other hands of the Justice League behind it. And I was a freshman in college, and I was feeling kind of lonely and kind of not really sure of my place in the world at the time. And there was a comic book shop nearby, and I would go there, once a week. And I remember seeing that poster, not knowing anything about Darwyn, really only having had been reading DC comic books for a few years at that point. Still, I think the entirety of my knowledge was the Flash and the things that everybody knows about Batman and Superman. um, so I didn't know what to expect out of this book. I had a vague idea of who the Justice League were, but the look of the poster completely knocked me on my ass. I couldn't believe that something could look like that. At the time, I was drawing a little bit, but I was still, at the time, I was still a music major, and I was still kind of figuring out, like, is this something I really want to be doing? I don't think comic books have a place for me and the way I draw, so maybe that isn't a viable career choice. But then I saw Darwyn's poster, and it's not that I could draw anything like Darwyn could, but Darwyn was so different from what I was seeing on the stands at the time that it was my first clue into, oh, maybe I don't have to draw in a certain house style or the same as anybody else to work in comics. Maybe there is a place for me. So I couldn't have been more excited for the book. Again, not knowing anything about Darwyn or what to expect from the book, I didn't know the premise at all. Only what I saw in that poster, and I was so excited for the look of it. I had no idea that Darwyn was also writing it. But Darwyn's lines combined with Dave Stewart's colors, I was so excited about it.
So we're going to go to your pages from the final issue of the series, almost at the climax of the series. What I was going to ask was, when I think of the New Frontier, if somebody asked me to choose a page, I would be paralyzed because the entire run is just Darwyn hitting balls out to deep left center again, again, again. So how did you decide on which page you were going to choose for this?
The thing is, this book is chock full of incredible career making pages. And the thing is, I could easily pick out another 20 or 30 pages that I think are incredible and absolutely emblematic of the book as a whole. The thing, and I read The New Frontier over and over again every couple of years, and never intentionally. It's something where I want to see something from a certain page just to see how Darwyn handled something, and then I end up sitting there reading through a whole passage again, and then ultimately I end up reading the entire book again because it's so readable. Um, by which I mean it's so easy to get caught up in what he's doing. The three panel structure to it, which as a relatively new comic book reader at the time, back in 2004 and five, it never occurred to me that it was three wide panels over and over and over and over again. It never hit me until the very end of the book when I realized, looking back through it, oh, these are all wide panels. He's telling this entire story with the same structure. And I think that's so revelatory because so many artists get caught up in chopping up the page in new and different ways, and there's nothing wrong with that either. Lord knows I've done it plenty. But confining yourself to a three-tier structure like that, I think, opened Darwin up in so many ways. This book feels huge. This book feels like it takes up space. Like there's, uh, when we see Hal fly off into space, we feel that the amount of space there. Um, when we get wide shots of the center, or wide shot of the Justice League and all the huge cast of this book, it really feels huge. So when it comes to this book, there are, like I said, 20 to 30 other moments that I could easily pick, but the one I think about constantly is this page where, and it's hard to take it. I love this whole sequence. Taking it out of context seems a little strange, but I think this is the high point of this sequence. This page is preceded by the Justice League triumphant. They've had victory over the center, and they're starting to celebrate when Aquaman's ship comes out of the depths, and we haven't seen barely any of the thing with Aquaman this entire time. Over the course of these nearly 400 pages, we've barely seen his face. So we don't know what to make of this character in the context of the book. And then on this page, we get this great shot of Aquaman. The door has opened, the water is pouring down, and Aquaman, uh, kind of shadowed a little bit by the light coming from behind him, perfectly lit by Dave Stewart. I'm sure, I know that Darwin had a hand in where the shadows went and where the highlights would lay on characters, but the way Dave lit this is immaculate. And this is our first real look at King Arthur of Atlantis, and we've got Superman, who up until this point is presumed dead by all the other characters. He's just barely falling out of frame in that first panel. Um, and we cut to, which is the exact center of the page, is Lois's reaction to finding out that Superman is still alive. And for me, it's one of the, if not the biggest, it's one of the best emotional focuses of this book. Um, and that reaction shot of Lois with her eyes wide open and her neck is stretched up a little bit to really pull the reader into that center of that panel and the page as a whole, framed by all the other characters behind her. And it's not just, not everybody's just happy to see Superman. I think of, I look at Green Arrow's face behind her, that smug kind of look to him, which is perfectly in character. The Flash's look at Superman having returned. The thing, and I feel like it's hard to talk about this book. No, with Darwin having written the book as well, um, I think it's easy to talk about the way he structures this page. And I was just taking another look at it, and there's no clear answer to who's narrating this page. And it's part of it is the writing, the writing in the second panel. I think about this line all the time. The "a moment so perfect it makes you want to cry." I think about that line all the time, and I see Lois's face burned into my memory when I think of it. But there's no clear indication who is saying this, and for all I know, it's just Darwin talking. And I think through the greater context of the book, this seems to be the one time we really have Darwin himself talking directly to us. Now I'm reading into it there, but that's my own personal interpretation. And then it ends on this great tight shot of Jimmy starting to take the photo, and even without the next page, which is a great page of a old school newspaper shot of the Justice League and all these other characters celebrating. Uh, I love the moment, the timing that we get with Jimmy's click of the camera and knowing that we're about to see something. It would be so easy to leave that panel out and save it either for the top of the next page or not include it at all, and just end on that shot of Lois. But with this three panel structure, uh, I just the timing on this page blows me away every time I look at it.
So I have two questions specific to our channel before I let you go. One is back me
Hmm.
up. Aquaman is cool, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, he gets a lot of
I
grief among art collectors.
I know it's easy to say Aquaman's a joke, but I think if you look at the reasons people call Aquaman a joke, that you could make the same arguments about Batman or any other character. Really, I love Aquaman. He's my favorite.
Ditto. Totally ditto. And finally, because we're on the Comic Art Live channel, do you own any Darwyn Cooke original art?
No, if except for I have a small sketch of Parker in one of my Parker books that I won in a art contest he ran around the time that the first Parker book came out. And that's it. I for years I've been looking. There's a cover that I've been looking for, and nobody seems to be quite sure where it is. That he drew for Dynamite back in the day of Jungle Jim, and it was my Jungle Jim design that he drew. So it's something I've been looking for a really long time. So if anybody knows where it is, please let me know.
All right, you put the word out. Thank
Yeah,
you again for joining us and talking about this great, great, great comic.
yeah, my pleasure. Always happy to talk about Darwin.